All right, guys, how's it doing? Another lecture before we go off for Easter break. Hopefully, you guys are staying safe, staying healthy. Weather's beautiful outside, so try to get outside for a little bit, have some fun. Um, this shouldn't be too terribly long, but I want to kind of build off of what we've been talking about. All right, so the other day we talked about genotype ratios. So basically, what it is we go through and do these Punnett squares, and then we're looking at the percentage of each of these in there. So you'll see at the top here I wrote genotype. Genotype is what's in the boxes. So you'll see here I do my Punnett square cross, and my big A, I have 1/4 of them, or 25%, right? So that's what I have here. My big A, little a, I have 50% of those, this one and this one. And then my little a's, I have 25%, this little box down here. Now, what does this actually mean? Well, that's where the other term comes in, and that's where this phenotype thing that we talked about comes in for it. Um, so phenotype is basically what do they physically look like because of that. There's a certain trait that you tie to it. Like, for example, with Gregor Mendel, he was looking at the colors of the peas, or the colors of the pea pods, or the size of the pea pods. A bunch of different traits like that. Characteristics. You might look at it as hair color, eye color, height, weight. Those are different traits, and those are the physical appearances of it. These are the representing the chromosomes, the genes that are on the chromosomes. The physical appearance, though, is what results from it. Why do you look the way you do? So there's what's also known as a phenotypic ratio, or phenotype. Phenotype, again, like I said, is basically what's the physical appearance. So what you do is you take this and you interpret it as a physical representation of what they look like. Usually what I do, and that's where this dominant and recessive thing comes in. So in this case, the big A is dominant, the little a is recessive. Now what's that mean? Well, basically think of it this way. Is dominant recessive means one trait is masking the other. It's overshadowing the other, meaning it's showing itself. So if it's present, that means that the recessive one's not going to show up. You may have seen this whenever you looked over my notes. Dominant basically just means that it's going to show up. It's going to be there. Recessive means that it's going to be overshadowed by it. Kind of think of it maybe as a brother, a brother and sister relationship, or a sibling relationship where one sibling overshadows the other sibling. You see more about one thing than the other thing. Or look at it as other things that might be overshadowing something else. But in this case, what it is in this, it's one is masking the other. If it's there, it's gonna show itself. The other one is going to stand back. It's gonna be the wallflower. It's gonna be the quiet one. So what that means essentially is that if we have the big A's, those are going to be the dominant trait. Those are going to be whatever the dominant trait is. If the dominant trait is yellow peas, or it's green pea pods, or brown hair, or blonde hair. Those are going to be the dominant traits, the traits that are showing themselves. Meanwhile, the recessive traits are going to be masked by it. So even if I have a recessive trait in there, it's still going to be overshadowed by the dominant trait. What that means then is that the individuals that are heterozygous, my big A, little a's, those are still going to be the same trait as if we had a big A. Sorry, Miller's needing some attention right now. Hi, buddy. You want to say hi? So basically, what's going to happen is if we have big A, or big A, little a, they're going to be the same thing. Meanwhile, if we have two little a's, two small a's, then that means we're going to have the recessive trait. So in this case, the only way for them to get the recessive trait is to have two little a's. So if you look at my box here, I've gone through and done the phenotypic ratio over here. So if I go through here and I say, okay, so I have 25% of them are big A. That means it's going to be the dominant trait. If I have 50% are big A, little a, that means it's also going to be the dominant trait, because this big A is going to overshadow this little a, and it's going to be like the little a is not even there at all. Meanwhile, down here at the bottom, I have two little a's, so neither one of those is overshadowing the other, meaning it's going to show the recessive trait. So in this case, my phenotypic ratio of my dominant trait here is 75%. That means if I were to do this cross between these two individuals who are heterozygous, big A, little a, then what's going to happen is I'm going to end up with 75% of them are going to have the dominant trait. Meanwhile, only 25% are going to have the recessive trait. So that's why a lot of times your recessive traits are going to be the rare traits. They're going to be the less seen traits, or the less likely traits to be able to see. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind, is that the phenotypic ratio is basically just showing what are they physically going to look like, what is their physical appearance going to be. So for your assignment today, which is basically, you guys, what we've been doing is I have some worksheets you guys are going to be doing probably starting end of next week. And those worksheets are going to be kind of putting all of this together. I've been kind of taking that information and just kind of slowly going through it. So we started by just having you guys do the Punnett squares. Then I introduced the genotypic ratio. Then I introduced the phenotypic ratio today, along with dominant recessive traits. And so next week, we're actually going to build off of that. We're going to take all of that and we're going to put it together into one thing, and that is genetics. That is how genetics works. It's the probability or the likelihood that a trait or characteristic is going to express itself. So that's kind of where we're going with that. And so we'll start talking a little bit more about how to put all this stuff together next week. But for today's assignment, you're going to be doing 3 things. You're going to be doing your Punnett squares. And this time around, I didn't give you the combinations. This time around, I'm just telling you it's heterozygous, and then I'm telling you, whatever the 2 letters are, the big letter and the little letter. But I'm not putting them on the Punnett square. You have to set them up on the Punnett square yourself. So I'll leave those boxes open for you, but you have to set them up. So I'm kind of giving you guys a little bit to build off of that. But remember, if it's on the same individual, then it stays on the same side of the Punnett square. So, for example, this big A little a is one individual. This is one person. This is either the mother or the father. It doesn't really necessarily matter. This one over here is the other person. These two have children. This big A little a and this big A little a have children. And these are the possibilities or the probabilities of what their children could look like. So that means that if this individual right here has a child with this individual right here, their children have a 75% probability of getting the dominant trait and a 25% probability of getting the recessive trait. This can be, again, different things such as the color of fur or the color of hair or height, weight, several different traits. So just keep that in mind as you're going through and doing the Punnett squares. We're just going to keep going with this and building off of it. If you have any questions, as always, please, guys, contact me, email me. Not even if it's just, I'm having trouble with an assignment. If you have questions about some of the stuff you're not understanding where we're going with the stuff, please let me know. You're getting the points for doing these assignments regardless of how you did them, as long as you at least, tried to fill them out. The big thing is I'm trying to leave comments on there if you did do them incorrectly so you understand where you made the mistakes. So again, if you have questions, please email me. Please contact me. Mr. Brinker, I know, is available. You can contact him as well. So, if you need to email, if you can't reach me for some reason, you can email him and ask him. All right, guys. So take it easy. Enjoy your Easter break. Probably won't have a video posted on Monday or anything posted for you guys on Monday since it's technically still the holiday. So you probably won't hear from me again until next Thursday. So stay safe, stay healthy, stay inside, unless you're going outside to enjoy the weather. But see you guys later and take care.